Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, covering the period from today, September 18th, through Sunday, September 24th. I'm meteorologist Jimmy Danko, and let's go ahead and get started here. So first, just a quick update on where things stand as far as drought and how much rain we've had across Central North Carolina. So you can see from the U.S. Drought Monitor released this past Thursday, and this was as of last Tuesday, we have some D0 or abnormally dry conditions across basically the northern coastal plain, parts of the northeast Piedmont and western Sandhills and southern Piedmont. So kind of scattered around a good part of our area. And there's even a small area of D1 moderate drought across basically Anson County. And since then, over the last 7 days, you can see we have had some rain across these areas. That has helped probably somewhat with the dry conditions. You can see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, even locally 2 to 3 inches across the northern Piedmont, coastal plain, and southern Piedmont as well. So now taking a look at the upcoming weather pattern for the next week across Central North Carolina, you can see really it's looking like a very quiet week, at least through Thursday. We have high pressure that'll be building in from the north and northwest, and that will bring dry weather through Thursday, from today through Thursday, as well as seasonable temperatures, highs generally in the upper 70s to mid 80s. Slight warming trend through Thursday, but overall nothing, no concerns for excessive heat or anything like that. Looks very like it'll be very pleasant out there. As we head into Friday, a non-tropical area of low pressure will develop off the Florida, Georgia coast. And then what it does after that is still somewhat unclear. It looks like there's a pretty good chance that it'll at least give us some rain for this weekend, particularly in eastern parts of the area. But details at this point are very uncertain as far as amounts and timing. The most likely timing looks to be Friday night into Saturday night. You can see the low starts to maybe creep north on Saturday, according to the latest forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. But really, the models are disagree on exactly how this system is going to progress. One of the models that we use, the GFS, lifts it north pretty quickly on Saturday through our area and deepens it, and results in some moderate to heavy rain, particularly again across the east. Whereas the European model really just keeps it stationary on Friday and Saturday off the Georgia, Florida coast, and doesn't really lift it north until Sunday. So lots of uncertainty with this right now, but it looks like there's a pretty good chance that the weekend will be unsettled. So for outdoor plans, you may want to stay tuned for the latest forecast. Temperatures also due to the system look like they will be cooler from Friday into the weekend, especially on Saturday with the increased clouds and maybe precipitation. All right, so looking at the severe storm potential for the next week, fortunately, it doesn't look like there's any concerns in that regard through the weekend. And no threats of flash flooding either. Again, it's going to, we are confident that it will be dry through midweek. And then looking at the precipitation amounts that we're expecting through the next 5 days, you can see again, no rain expected through Thursday. And then once we get into even Friday, it looks pretty dry, but by Saturday, we start to get maybe some rain from this system off the coast. I wouldn't focus too much on these exact amounts. They're going to likely shift somewhat, and still a lot of uncertainty with this. But the heaviest rain from this system could, be multiple inches. Right now, the models have it really along the immediate coast. So the forecasts as far inland as we are, more like in the around an inch at most, or less as you go further west. But again, I wouldn't focus too much on these exact amounts because they likely could shift over the week. Looking at the National Hurricane Center, the tropics continue to be active. It is September, and we just passed the climatological peak in the Atlantic tropical season. And so you can see this graphic from the National Hurricane Center shows a few areas that they're watching. Hurricane Nigel is way out in the central Atlantic, and that is going to curve out to sea and not really pose any threat to land. It is expected to become a major hurricane over the next day or two, but doesn't pose any threat to land, thankfully. There's also this area that they're watching way out. It just came off of Africa, the next wave. That could have, there's actually a pretty high chance of that it'll develop into a tropical depression late this week or this weekend. But it's way too early to know what it's going to do beyond that. They're also looking at this area of low pressure that I mentioned that is expected to develop off the southeast coast on Friday. It's expected to be non-tropical initially, but it could develop some subtropical characteristics this weekend if it's able to remain offshore. So stay tuned for that. Again, lots of uncertainty on the details with that system. The 8 to 14 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. So this will be from September 25th to October 1st. You can see that Central North Carolina has a 33 to 40% chance, so slightly increased chances of above normal temperatures, as well as above normal precipitation. And just for reference, normal high temperatures across our area for that period are in the upper 70s to low 80s, and lows are in the upper 50s to lower 60s. So again, just to summarize here, high pressure will bring dry weather from today through at least Thursday, maybe even Friday, with just a slight warming trend. Looks to be basically near seasonable, near normal temperatures. So it looks like a very pleasant week. And then A low pressure system will develop off the southeast coast on Friday. Expected to lift north eventually, but its timing is very uncertain right now. Exactly when it lifts north into the Carolinas. But it will bring the next chance of some rain, as well as some breezy conditions. From looks like Friday night into Saturday night is the most likely timing. And temperatures, again, looks like they're going to cool down, at least some, from Friday into the weekend with the clouds and rain. And just looking at hazards and impacts, nothing imminent at this time for the next week. There's, again, tropics remain seasonably active, no immediate threats, and that low pressure system may bring some moderate to heavy rain to eastern North Carolina this weekend. And for now, at least, the models keep the heaviest rain to our east near the coast, but plenty of time for that to change, so stay tuned on that. All right, that wraps up the weekly briefing. Does anyone have any questions?